If you think men fall for women just because of looks, you're only seeing half the picture. Looks may get his attention for a moment, but habits are what make him obsessed. And there are 5 feminine habits that, when you master them, don't just catch a man's eye, they keep his desire burning. When we talk about what draws men in on a deep, primal level, one of the most magnetic qualities a woman can show is playful confidence. Now, confidence on its own is often misunderstood. Many people assume it's about being loud, dominating conversations, or constantly asserting yourself, but the kind of confidence that creates attraction isn't about being the biggest presence in the room. It's about carrying yourself with an ease that says, I'm comfortable in my skin and I don't need to prove myself. When you pair that with a sense of playfulness, it becomes irresistible because it signals that you're not just comfortable with yourself, but you can also create fun, light-hearted energy wherever you go. Playful confidence isn't about cracking jokes non-stop or trying too hard to be entertaining. It's the ability to find humor in small moments, to laugh at yourself when something goes wrong, to tease gently in a way that shows you're secure enough not to take everything too seriously. Think about how refreshing that is for a man. So many people move through the world guarded, stressed, and overly concerned with how they come across. When he meets a woman who can smile at herself, roll with the unexpected, and add lightness to a conversation, it feels like oxygen. It makes him want to be around her because she transforms even ordinary interactions into something enjoyable. For example, imagine you're on a date and you spill a little drink on the table. One type of reaction might be embarrassment, apologizing excessively, or becoming flustered. But a woman with playful confidence might laugh it off, maybe joke about her clumsy side, or playfully tease him that he distracted her. That one small reaction sends a powerful message. She doesn't crumble under pressure, she doesn't need everything to be perfect, and she knows how to turn a potentially awkward moment into a charming one. That ease in the face of imperfection is exactly what makes her so magnetic. This quality also shows up in conversation. Playful confidence allows you to tease without being mean, to challenge him in a way that excites rather than intimidates. If he says something bold, instead of nervously agreeing or harshly shooting him down, you might respond with a raised eyebrow, a smile, and a witty comeback. That back and forth energy sparks chemistry because it shows that you're engaged, unafraid to have fun, and willing to play on his level. Men don't remember conversations that are flat and predictable, but they always remember the ones where they felt that spark of playful tension. Another reason this quality is so powerful is that it demonstrates emotional resilience. A woman who can laugh at herself, who doesn't let small setbacks rattle her, signals that she won't fall apart when life throws bigger challenges her way. That is deeply attractive because it communicates strength without having to announce it. Men aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for someone who makes life feel lighter, easier, and more enjoyable. Playful confidence embodies that perfectly. There's also a subtle element of flirtation in this. Playfulness opens the door to creating inside jokes, shared laughter, and moments of spontaneity. It builds intimacy without needing grand gestures. When a man sees that you can be both confident and playful, he feels like being around you is an adventure, and that combination of comfort and excitement is one of the strongest triggers for attraction. In the end, playful confidence is really about your relationship with yourself. When you're secure in who you are, you can afford to be light, to be silly, to lean into fun without worrying about how it will look. That inner freedom is what men find so captivating because it shows that you don't need validation. You're already whole, and you're simply inviting him to share in the joy you naturally create. Flirtatious energy without words is one of the most subtle yet powerful ways a woman can trigger attraction in a man. And what makes it so fascinating is that it works on a level beneath logic. Men often think of themselves as highly visual creatures, but what actually captivates them is not just the way someone looks, it's the way that person carries herself and communicates without speaking. Eye contact, a smile that lingers just a second longer than expected, a playful tilt of the head, or the gentle brush of an arm can ignite more chemistry than hours of conversation because it creates an unspoken language of intimacy. Think about the impact of eye contact. A fleeting glance can be polite, but when a woman allows her eyes to rest just long enough to create a sense of being seen, it signals confidence and interest without a single word. Men feel that intensity almost instantly. It triggers curiosity, sometimes even a rush of adrenaline, because eye contact is deeply primal. It's as if she's letting him in on a secret or daring him to step closer. Add to that the softness of a smile, and suddenly the room feels smaller, like there's a private connection happening in the midst of everything else. That combination of directness and warmth is like a magnetic pull. Another form of this silent flirtation is through body language that communicates openness. When a woman leans in slightly while listening, when her posture is relaxed rather than guarded, when her gestures flow with ease instead of being stiff, it gives the impression that she's not just present but genuinely receptive. Men instinctively read these signals, often without even realizing it, and they interpret them as signs of acceptance, safety, and invitation. A woman doesn't need to say she's interested. The way she plays with her hair absent-mindedly while smiling at him, or the way she mirrors his movements, already speaks volumes. Playful teasing through gestures is another aspect of this energy. It could be a gentle nudge on the shoulder, brushing past him lightly in a crowded space, or even the way she holds eye contact while raising an eyebrow as if to challenge him. These small, deliberate actions create sparks because they blur the line between casual interaction and something more charged. It communicates, "I'm comfortable enough to touch you, but I'm also keeping it light," and that balance of safety and intrigue is irresistible. The reason these nonverbal cues are so effective is that they bypass the conscious mind. Words can be rehearsed, but body language and energy feel spontaneous and authentic. A man might forget what was said during an evening, but he will remember the way he felt when she smiled at him from across the room, the electric pause when their eyes locked, or the warmth in the way she laughed at his joke while gently leaning toward him. Those moments plant seeds of desire because they feel organic, not forced. There's also a confidence embedded in silent flirtation. To communicate interest without spelling it out requires a sense of ease with one's own attractiveness. A woman who knows her value doesn't need to declare it. She can allow it to shine through the smallest gestures. Men find this deeply attractive because it doesn't feel like she's trying to win approval. Instead, it feels like she's simply expressing herself authentically and letting him notice. That naturalness creates a stronger pull than any scripted words could. What makes this so powerful is that it invites the man into the dance of attraction without putting everything on the table at once. It gives him just enough to feel excited and curious, but not so much that the mystery disappears. That tension, created by a look, a smile, a touch that could have been accidental but wasn't, keeps him engaged. It sparks his imagination, and imagination is one of the greatest accelerators of desire. Feminine mystery is one of the most timeless qualities that draws men in, and it works because it engages a man's imagination in a way that nothing else can. Attraction isn't just about what is seen and known, it's about the layers that are slowly revealed over time, and mystery creates the perfect balance between openness and intrigue. When a woman embodies this quality, she doesn't give everything away at once. She reveals just enough to spark interest while leaving space for him to wonder, to chase, and to invest in discovering more. That process of discovery is what makes attraction grow stronger rather than fade quickly. Mystery is not about being secretive or playing manipulative games. It's about pacing, A woman with feminine mystery knows that connection is a dance, and she doesn't rush to reveal her whole life story, her deepest emotions, or her future plans on the first date. Instead, she allows the layers of who she is to unfold naturally. This pacing builds anticipation, and anticipation is at the heart of attraction. Men enjoy the pursuit not because they want a challenge for the sake of difficulty, but because they value what they've invested time and energy into earning. When she allows him to uncover her world little by little, it makes each new detail feel more meaningful and rewarding. Feminine mystery also shows up in the way a woman holds herself. She might share a captivating story, but stop just short of giving every detail, leaving room for him to ask questions and engage further. She might wear something that highlights her beauty without revealing everything, drawing his eyes in but leaving his imagination to do the rest. It's the art of suggestion, the subtle tease that says there's more beneath the surface and that more is worth discovering. This subtlety is powerful because it keeps him leaning in, curious and engaged, rather than feeling like he's already seen everything there is to see. Another key part of this quality is emotional restraint. That doesn't mean being cold or detached, but rather not laying every emotion bare instantly. For example, if she feels strongly about something, she expresses it with grace and depth, but she doesn't flood the interaction with every vulnerability or fear right away. This selective sharing communicates emotional maturity and strength, and it also makes her moments of openness even more impactful. When she chooses to reveal something personal, it feels special, intentional, and earned, which deepens the connection. Mystery also creates an element of contrast, and contrast is what makes someone unforgettable. A woman may be warm and engaging one moment, then slightly reserved the next, allowing a man to wonder what she's thinking and wanting to know more. She might laugh freely, but also have moments of quiet reflection, showing that she has many layers that can't be easily categorized. This unpredictability excites a man because it keeps the dynamic alive and prevents the connection from feeling stagnant. The unknown becomes a source of fascination, and fascination is a powerful driver of attraction. Feminine mystery doesn't mean withholding love or affection. In fact, the balance is that she can show care, interest, and even desire while still maintaining a sense of independence and individuality. She might say yes to a date, but not always be available at a moment's notice. She might share about her passions and hobbies, but not feel the need to justify or over-explain them. She might listen with genuine attention, but also keep parts of her inner world private until the relationship has deepened. All of these small choices communicate that she values herself and that her presence is something to be appreciated, not taken for granted. The beauty of feminine mystery is that it doesn't just keep a man interested, it creates a foundation of respect. By not overexposing everything too soon, she teaches him to value her, to invest time and effort in understanding her, and to cherish the gradual unfolding of intimacy. It makes every step of the journey more exciting, because there's always more to discover, and that sense of what's next is what keeps attraction alive long after the first spark. Nurturing warmth is one of the most magnetic feminine qualities, and it often creates a deep and lasting impression on men because it appeals to something more profound than just surface attraction. While confidence and mystery spark intrigue, warmth touches a man at his core, making him feel safe, valued, and connected in a way that is rare. It's not about mothering him or taking on the role of caretaker, but about radiating a presence that makes him feel seen and accepted. Men may not always articulate it, but they are deeply responsive to a woman who carries a sense of gentle kindness combined with emotional strength, because it signals that she has both the capacity to connect and the resilience to stand tall in her own life. Nurturing warmth shows up most powerfully in the small gestures. When a woman listens attentively, when she asks questions that show genuine curiosity about his experiences, when she laughs at his stories, not out of obligation but out of true enjoyment. Those moments create a sense of intimacy that words cannot fully capture. Men often live in environments where they feel pressure to perform, compete, and hide vulnerability. When he meets a woman whose energy says, "You don't have to put on a show here, you can just be yourself," it creates a refuge, and that refuge is irresistible. It's the difference between feeling judged and feeling accepted, and the latter builds an attraction that isn't just physical but emotional. Physical gestures also communicate nurturing warmth without needing to be overt. A light touch on the arm when laughing, adjusting something for him without being asked, or simply maintaining a soft and open posture all signal care and attentiveness. These gestures are subtle but powerful because they're instinctive, not forced. A man will rarely forget the feeling of a woman who made him feel comfortable and cared for without words. It stands out because it's so rare in a world where many interactions remain surface level and transactional. This warmth also extends to how she treats the world around her. A woman who is kind to the server at the restaurant, who smiles at strangers, or who shows patience in moments where others might be harsh, demonstrates a depth of character that men find magnetic. These qualities reveal how she will show up in a relationship, how she will handle conflict, and how she will treat him when challenges arise. Men may be drawn to looks at first, but they stay for the feeling a woman creates, and nurturing warmth is the quality that makes them feel they've found something meaningful. Importantly, nurturing warmth does not mean losing boundaries or becoming overly accommodating. In fact, it's most powerful when it is paired with self-respect. A woman who extends kindness but also knows how to say no, who shows compassion but doesn't allow herself to be taken advantage of, embodies balance. That balance is what men find deeply attractive because it combines softness with strength. It signals that she is giving out of genuine care, not out of a need for validation or fear of being abandoned. That kind of strength-rooted warmth becomes addictive because it is steady and reliable while still being tender. Another aspect of this quality is the emotional environment she creates. A nurturing woman has the ability to diffuse tension, to make difficult conversations feel safe, and to encourage openness without pressure. She doesn't demand vulnerability, but creates a space where it naturally emerges. For a man who may not be used to sharing his inner world, this feels like a gift because it allows him to open up in ways he rarely does with others. That level of emotional connection doesn't just trigger attraction, it creates loyalty and devotion because he associates her presence with comfort and trust. Ultimately, nurturing warmth is about energy. It's the softness in her smile, the sincerity in her words, the gentle encouragement she gives, and the way she shows care without losing herself. It doesn't shout, it whispers, and yet it leaves the deepest mark. It's not about perfection or grand gestures, but about authenticity, about choosing to bring kindness into interactions even when it's not required. Men are wired to be drawn to this energy because it reminds them of home, not in the literal sense, but in the sense of belonging, and nothing is more attractive than feeling like you've found a place where you can be both strong and vulnerable without fear. Physical expressiveness is one of those qualities that men often can't put into words, but feel on an instinctive level the moment they encounter it. It's the way a woman uses her body to communicate openness, interest, and femininity without ever needing to say a single thing. While words matter in creating a connection, body language often speaks louder, and men are incredibly responsive to the unspoken cues that signal attraction. What makes physical expressiveness so powerful is that it bypasses rational thought and triggers desire directly, creating a sense of magnetism that feels both natural and effortless. One of the most powerful elements of physical expressiveness is posture. A woman who stands tall with her shoulders relaxed and her movements fluid radiates confidence without saying a word. Compare this to someone who sits stiffly, arms crossed, or constantly fidgeting, and the difference is dramatic. The former communicates ease and self-assurance, while the latter suggests nervousness or detachment. Men instinctively pick up on this contrast. A relaxed yet graceful posture says, "I'm comfortable in myself and I'm open to this moment." And that openness is deeply attractive. It sets the stage for connection because it invites him to approach and engage without fear of rejection. Another aspect is the way she uses eye contact and facial expressions in harmony with her body. When she leans in slightly while listening, her eyes engaged and her smile soft, it creates a current of intimacy. A subtle tilt of the head or a playful glance over her shoulder can communicate far more than words ever could. These small expressions add layers of flirtation, mystery, and warmth all at once, and men respond to the authenticity behind them. A man may not remember every word of the conversation, but he will remember the way her eyes sparkled when she laughed, or the way she leaned closer as though sharing a secret just between the two of them. Gestures also play a powerful role. The way she touches her hair absent-mindedly, the way her hands move naturally as she speaks, or the way she uses touch in subtle, appropriate ways can all amplify attraction. A light brush of the hand when making a point, a gentle tap on the arm while laughing, or a playful push when teasing are all ways of building physical rapport without overstepping boundaries. These gestures create micro moments of connection that feel spontaneous and personal, leaving him craving more interaction. Movement itself carries its own language. A woman who walks with purpose yet softness, who doesn't rush frantically but moves with a sense of flow, communicates both confidence and calm. The rhythm of her body, whether she's leaning back in her chair with ease, shifting closer in conversation, or playfully stepping away only to return, creates a dynamic energy that keeps him engaged. Men often find themselves drawn to this fluidity because it suggests comfort in one's body and the ability to enjoy the present moment. Physical expressiveness is also about alignment. When her body language aligns with her words, it creates a powerful sense of authenticity. If she says she's enjoying herself but her body is closed off, the message feels inconsistent. But when her words of enjoyment are paired with open gestures, eye contact, and a relaxed posture, the connection becomes believable and magnetic. Men are naturally attuned to these signals because they help them gauge genuine interest, and when those signals are present, attraction deepens rapidly. What makes physical expressiveness especially captivating is its subtlety. It doesn't require grand gestures or exaggerated movements. In fact, it's often the smallest actions that have the greatest impact. The soft touch of her hand on his when passing something across the table, the gentle sway of her body to music, the way she angles her body toward him instead of away. These are the details that speak volumes. They convey not just interest but also presence, the sense that she is fully engaged and unafraid to let her body reflect that engagement. At its core, physical expressiveness is about being in tune with one's body and allowing it to naturally reflect emotion and connection. It's not about acting or forcing signals, but about letting attraction and comfort show in a physical way. Men are drawn to this because it feels genuine and instinctive, and it invites them into a dance of chemistry that words alone could never create. It turns an interaction from ordinary to unforgettable because long after the conversation is over, what lingers is the memory of how it felt to be in her presence and to be pulled in by the silent language her body spoke so effortlessly. Passion for life is one of the most compelling qualities a woman can embody because it radiates an energy that goes far beyond appearance or charm. When a woman has a genuine excitement for the things she does, when she lights up while talking about her interests, dreams, or the activities that make her feel alive. It creates an aura that men find magnetic. This isn't about pretending to be busy or filling a schedule for the sake of it. It's about cultivating a life that feels rich, meaningful, and full of color, and then sharing that energy naturally. Men are instinctively drawn to people who make the world feel bigger, brighter, and more exciting, and passion for life does exactly that. A woman who demonstrates this quality shows that she has her own identity and her own sense of purpose. She isn't waiting for someone else to complete her story. She's already writing it herself. This independence doesn't push men away. It draws them in because it communicates that being with her is not about carrying the burden of her happiness, but about sharing in the adventure she's already creating. Men are intrigued by women who have their own spark because it suggests that time spent together will never feel stagnant or predictable. She brings freshness into his world, and that freshness feels addictive. Passion also reveals itself in the way she talks. When a woman speaks with genuine enthusiasm about the things she cares about, whether it's her work, a hobby, a cause, or even just a small joy like a book she loves, her energy becomes contagious. Men may not share the same passion, but they are drawn to the excitement in her voice, the sparkle in her eyes, and the way she seems to come alive in the moment. That expression of joy is attractive because it shows authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. People are inspired by those who live fully, and a man who witnesses that feels both curious and energized by her presence. Another element of passion for life is the sense of curiosity it brings. A woman with this quality doesn't see life as something to merely endure. She approaches it as something to explore. She is open to new experiences, willing to step outside her comfort zone, and eager to learn. This adventurous mindset triggers attraction because it suggests that life with her won't be dull. A man can easily picture traveling with her, trying new things, or simply enjoying everyday moments that feel elevated because of the energy she brings. Curiosity keeps relationships dynamic, and men are highly responsive to the excitement of possibility. It's important to note that passion for life doesn't mean constant activity or a never-ending pursuit of big adventures. It can be found in the quietest moments too, like the way she savors her morning coffee, the joy she finds in creating something, or the care she puts into spending time with loved ones. Passion is less about the activity itself and more about the mindset she brings. Men notice this mindset because it's the difference between someone who seems drained and indifferent versus someone who carries a spark that brightens the atmosphere around them. This quality also has a grounding effect on attraction. A woman who lives passionately demonstrates that she values her time and her life, which in turn makes a man value her more. She sets a standard by showing that her happiness doesn't hinge on another person, and that standard creates respect. Men are drawn to women who don't place their entire world on someone else's shoulders because it feels lighter, freer, and more inviting. Instead of being pressured to provide meaning, he is invited to share in meaning that already exists. That shift makes the relationship more balanced and far more attractive. Perhaps the most powerful part of passion for life is the emotional experience it creates. Being around someone who is genuinely engaged with their own life makes a man feel more engaged with his own. It awakens his own sense of curiosity, ambition, and energy. He feels lifted by her presence because she doesn't just talk about living fully, she embodies it. That embodiment makes her unforgettable, because while beauty may catch his eye, it is passion that captures his imagination and stays with him long after. When a woman lives with passion, she becomes not just someone he desires, but someone he admires and wants to grow alongside. At the end of the day, attraction isn't about trying to become someone you're not. It's about amplifying the qualities that already make you magnetic. Playful confidence shows that you don't take life too seriously. Flirtatious energy without words reminds him that desire often lives in the smallest, most subtle signals. Feminine mystery keeps him curious and leaning in. Nurturing warmth makes him feel safe and seen. Physical expressiveness turns every moment into a spark, and passion for life proves that your world is already full of color and adventure. When these habits come together, they don't just trigger attraction in men, they create the kind of connection that feels unforgettable, the kind that doesn't fade after the first date but only grows stronger with time. Because what truly draws someone in is not perfection, but the way you make them feel. And these habits, practiced with authenticity, are what leave a man both captivated and inspired.